Guy Ritchie is back with the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Jeez, that's a mouthful. And he's put together a great cast and a pretty good story. But is it any good? Let's talk about it.
The reason they find you unattractive is the very reason I find you attractive.
Welcome back to Poprageous. I'm Danny Alex, here in Los Angeles with a spoiler-free review. And at the end, I'll give you my score out of 10, so check it out. One of my favorite movies of all time just happens to be Snatch. It's one of Guy Ritchie's earliest films that he wrote and directed, and it's on my wall for a reason. Back there. Brad Pitt rocked that movie in the role of Mickey, being just too damn good. Snatch has become a classic and proves that there is greatness in the mind of Guy Ritchie, even though he did marry Madonna. We've all made mistakes in our lives.
Stupid is, stupid does, sir.
Now, 24 years later, Ritchie gives us the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which is based on a true story and stars Henry Cavill, which in itself gives likability to this movie. For me, anyway. The interesting thing about this movie is that it's loosely based around the first ever Special Forces team formed during World War II by Prime Minister Sir Winston Churchill.
How do you do? I'm Winston Churchill.
The actual team included James Bond author Ian Fleming, believe it or not, the person that Henry Cavill's character is loosely based on, and it's this historical basis that makes this movie all the more interesting. Your first instinct is to compare it to Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds. Yes, there are some similarities as both have the same story premise and they both occurred during World War II. But that's stating the obvious, my friends.
I'm not your friend.
These are two distinctly different films. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is more of a over-the-top movie experience with mindless mayhem derived from blowing things up in a big and bad way. And I mean a lot of explosions. And the one thing that almost every British World War II movie loves to do, kill Nazis indiscriminately. But the reasons that make this movie fun to watch are also the reasons that many will point to as to why they didn't like it. And that's the biggest takeaway I get from this movie. You will either love it or you will hate it. And I'll be honest, there were times I enjoyed what was happening on screen, and other times it had me asking myself, wait, was that stupid? Was it a little too over the top? Or was it brilliant and funny? Though I'm a fan of Henry Cavill, as he's the kind of actor you can really like on screen. He has that easy to admire charisma that comes across as modest, and I have to give him a tip of the hat for what he brings to this movie.
For the giant hat, sir.
The rest of the cast all do a pretty good job, including Alan Ritchson. I always want to say Richardson for some reason. Alan Ritchson. And it doesn't matter what he does, all I see is Reacher. Isa Gonzalez, you have to admit, she's kind of hot and is well cast in the role of Marjorie Stewart. I mean, they all come together and make this movie all the more entertaining. You'll get the most enjoyment from this movie if you don't take anything that happens too seriously. It's like a roller coaster ride. You just have to go with it. Don't fight the inertia. Don't overthink the dips, the turns, and all the ups and downs. This is Guy Ritchie at his most violent, giving the audience a bloody good time, allowing Henry Cavill and his team to go completely unhinged using guns, bows, arrows, knives, and bombs. Very big bombs, to kill a lot of people.
Bomb, 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 bomb.
The violence goes to an extreme, and yes, it's rated R. It feels far-fetched and unbelievable with over-the-top mindless action and killing. But this movie doesn't have to apologize. This is what Guy Ritchie set out to do, is to make this movie with a fun, edgy, murderous theme and cheeky British tone. It just so happens that these are the very things that will also turn a lot of people off from this movie. Guy Ritchie's bombastic brand of action is taken to a whole new level with the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and in doing so, doesn't allow for an opportunity for a great story to stand out like it did in Snatch. It focuses on fun that borders on ridiculous a lot of the time. It has a simple and basic plot that only works because he doesn't try to give a deeper meaning to the movie beyond blowing up things and killing Nazis. If you're the kind of person who gets bored with this style of movie, then the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare will not be a movie that you'll enjoy. It's just that simple. You will either really like it or really hate it. There aren't many in-betweens on this one. If you're a Henry Cavill fan, you will love the fast and loose style of acting that Guy Ritchie allows him to do. If you want less mayhem and more substance in your movies, then this movie may not be your cup of tea. They only spent $60 million to make it, and that's a good thing because it may have a hard time producing big numbers at the box office in North America compared to Europe, where Ritchie's movies tend to do a little better. It'll depend on the kind of word of mouth that audiences give after leaving the theater. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare a 7.0. It's fun and has its own distinct charm that can be hit or miss and fails to come close to the level of Snatch. Its spaghetti western style gives audiences a thrilling but inconsequential ride with very little emotional investment. I'm a big Henry Cavill fan, so that helps in giving this movie 1 extra point. If you like what you heard, I thank you for watching, and subscribe to Poprageous if you want to hear more, and smash that like button, it really helps. And if you didn't like what you heard, well, you can smash the dislike button, I guess, and I will see you in our next video.